Huh. Right. The software issues are killing us here. I'm going to need another link, by the way, to get it back on here. But anyway, sorry for the interruption. Sorry, Al. I guess Mark Zuckerberg's was so upset with you that he couldn't stand it. Anyway, Bass Printing and Consulting Services. Again, 817-616-8761 or Alric at Bass Printing, ALRCK at bassprinting.com. All right. Where do you want to begin? First of all, most people still probably think that the promise is in Glenrose. And you've had to kind of really advertise that fact that it's not any longer. It's now in Willow Park.
Yes.
Why is it not in Glenrose?
We were at a theater that was owned by Somerville County for 36 years, I believe. And because it belonged to Somerville County, we had some things come up with our community tax issues and things like that. And so I think they went to reevaluate their budget, and it made more sense for Somerville County to sell it, which, that's understandable from their perspective. From our perspective, we put in a good offer that we thought, understanding the facility and what it would need to repair it and move on and make a long-term investment in it. And we had a lot of support from the community, and we signed petitions, went to city council meetings, all of those things. It turns out that later another investor purchased the facility, and they allowed us to finish out our spring commitments there and finish out that season. And then we had a little bit of time. We packed up 36 years worth of stuff, which is a lot of stuff. And then we started looking for a new home, and we found that Willow Park Baptist Church. And we have a lease there now for at least the next couple of years. We'll see what happens after that. We're hoping to maybe build or remodel or something and have our own theater someday.
Well, that's unfortunate. I think Somerville County may have been a little short-sighted myself, because I know a lot of people go to Glenrose and they spend money there. I'm sure the hotels are full during this time period. I wondered how Glenrose reacted to it. They didn't protest or anything like that?
There were a lot of upset people about it. I was thankful for the community. I grew up there, so I was thankful for their support. And the businesses in Glenrose, in the city of Glenrose, definitely benefit from it.
Oh, absolutely.
But
all the restaurants and gas stations and whatever else.
And even hotels around the area, like on a Promise weekend, the hotels in Granbury and Cleburne, and even on up closer here to Burleson are, they're booked, they're full, because people, if you go to Glenrose, you're going to visit a number of things at once, probably the Dinosaur Valley State Park or Fossil Rim and or the Promise. You're going to eat, you're going to shop, you're going to do all of the things, and that's going to take up your whole day. And so it's much more convenient to find a hotel, stay the night, and then go home the next morning, or just make a whole weekend of it. There's enough there to do to make a whole weekend. But I'm hoping that Glenrose bounces back from that really well. But
that's your hometown, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. My parents still live there. I'm there a lot, but I'm really hoping that they do okay, and that losing the Promise is not something that significantly impacts the economy.
Well, okay. Let's talk about the Promise itself. Now, how long has it been in production? Because I know it's been a little while. It's been several years.
We opened in the late fall of 1989. I didn't join the cast until 1990, I believe. But they did a very short little season in 1989, and then after that, we did mostly summer shows. We had seasons that were almost six months long, and then within the last several years, we have shortened those seasons due to weather and just making sure that people are comfortable there at the theater, because it was an outdoor theater.
What would you do if the weather was bad? Just postpone the show?
Depending on how bad the weather got. Yes.
I mean, if it's raining and all this, was your crowd out in the audience getting wet?
A lot of times they would bring their umbrellas or ponchos, and they would just huddle there together. If it was pouring, we would call the show. But if it was just a light mist or something that was going to pass through relatively quickly, we tried to finish up.
Well, did the performers get rained on?
Yes.
Well, that's what you just got to go for it. Break a leg. Is that what they say? Or
they say break a leg.
Yeah,
we try not to, but
got it all for the love of the show, right?
Love of the show. Yeah, I guess that's yeah, sure. But was this put together by a church or by a group of people that just wanted to kind of bring the message out to the people?
It was originally a group of investors that
Mhm.
had, they had seen things like the Eureka Springs Passion Play and things like that, and
Mhm.
they wanted to do the same story but differently,
Mhm.
and so they got together and found directors, found designers, put all of those things together, and it was a big undertaking. We have been a lot of places and got to do a lot of different things because of the promise, and so I'm really thankful for them. That company has since gone out of business, and we have a
Mhm.
new production company that is that's the head of our board now. But um, with the promise being
Mhm.
what it is, it's one of those things that
Mhm.
our audiences always enjoy because it tells a really, really good story,
Of course.
but it tells it in a really immersive way. The
Mhm.
people are around you. You afterwards you get to talk to the characters. Up until recently, we had animals. It
Okay,
was
that was one thing you had to kind of let go because of the move to
Mhm.
Willow Park.
Yes. Now we're indoors,
Mhm.
and it's a very nice church. And so to honor them, we're going to cut out the animals for a little while.
Well, what can you
And
do? You can't bring, a camel or whatever into the sanctuary, I suppose.
it's hard. We've done it before in other churches in the past, but then you have to have whole crews to clean up
Oh,
after
yeah,
the
no
animals,
doubt.
and that's really hard. So just to make the most of things, we decided to press pause on that for a little while, and then hopefully in the future we have our own
Mhm.
theater and we'll be able to add those animals back in.
Now, I remember our Justice of the Peace here in town used to be a part of the show, and
Uh-huh.
Jeff Monk, right?
Yes.
And is he still part of it?
No, I have
Mhm.
not actually seen him in a long time,
Mhm.
but yes, he is.
He's
He's
an
a good memory. I'd
Yeah.
love to say hi, but yeah. Hey Jeff, you should come and see us at the Christmas show. Look me up, ask for me.
It's funny because, he grew his hair out for his
Hmm.
role, and so, he's across the street from the high school, and at the time, he'd do a lot of truancy hearings, and so kids would go over there and they come back, kinda shell-shocked. Jesus just yelled at me, because Jeff is always really aggressive about, "Get your butt in school," right, and all
Hmm.
this other stuff, and it was just funny, because it's like, this bearded man is yelling at me,
Hmm.
it's like
And then he
having
would give them
mm,
tickets, and it would be
yeah,
great to see them and
yeah,
all their family show up and come see us, and
mhm.
that was a privilege.
Yeah, so that was always kind of humorous to us, but, as far as the message, it is the birth of Christ is the message, right? And goes up
Yes.
to what point?
For our Christmas show, we go
Mm,
up. We actually start at Zechariah and Elizabeth, and so we
mhm,
step back a little bit and tell the whole
mhm,
story up through the birth of Jesus,
mhm.
and then in our fall season, we do the entire story, start to finish. Yeah, this is one of our really great pictures, showing off our costumes and little baby TJ there, and
It's a real baby,
oh
so
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
so no
definitely,
doll.
yeah.
Okay.
No, and so then in spring we kind of fast forward a little bit, start around John the Baptist and push through to the end.
Mhm. So you eventually, in the course of a year, you go through the entire New Testament practically, do you end at Pentecost or something like that? Or
Not
resurrection?
yet, not yet, but we're hoping
Yeah.
because of this new facility and
Mhm.
being indoors that we will be able to kind of expand our repertoire and add to things. So I'm not sure what that looks like yet, but I'm hopeful.
Now, is this a musical or is this a play?
This is a musical.
So who wrote the music?
A combination of things.
Alright.
We have some of the music from our previous script that started way
Mhm.
back in 1989. Depending on the purpose or the
Uh-huh.
way that it drives the story, occasionally we'll change out songs or even go back and recompose them so that they sound more updated. And so it's kind of a compilation of things. In fact, one of our staff members does a lot of writing, so he's been writing a lot for us.
Hmm. So this is original music. This isn't like
Mhm.
just a collection of well-known songs or whatever, or hymns and something like
Mhm.
that. That's interesting. And the costumes, I mean, this isn't something your mom put together for the school play kind of
Yeah,
thing.
it's
These
not
are,
something we found in the closet.
yeah, right. So it's professionally done. I mean,
Mhm.
it's a high quality. This isn't something like, I don't know, like some sort of, civic community theater. It's a big deal, so to speak.
Mhm.
And there's more pictures.
Yes, this one I'm actually in this picture.
Where? Right here?
Yes, I'm the one closest to you. And the man who's playing Jesus here, his name is Joel Agrone, and these are his two kids. And
Mm-hmm.
we did this for a photo shoot way back in the 90s. I'm thinking
Mm,
95 or so
you
ish,
went
somewhere in there.
95. I'm doing the math in my head. So you were what, 3 at the time?
Close.
We'll go with that.
Close.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But he now, we still see him all the time, and he now is a professional Santa Claus.
We got a couple of those here in town too. Professional Santa Claus. I guess you can make a living doing that, right? But that's interesting. So you've been part of this since you were a child. Okay. And you perform, like we said, various different roles. Have you ever been Mary?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
That's I assume the lead female role.
It's well, yes. It's every young girl's dream when you work the promise. That's the one you go for.
Really? But there's others, of course.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
You know, there's Elizabeth, and then I'm trying to think of other ladies in the promise story.
We actually split up the role of Mary, so we usually have young Mary, and then not as young Mary.
Not as young Mary. Okay, fine.
So that we can traverse about 30 years of time there.
Right.
And we also have some really great ensemble songs that are led by ladies, like the scene where a lot of people are healed. That song is led by a lady. So there's lots of opportunities.
And you get the angels, of course, and almost always they're feminine, right?
Yes.
Even though it didn't say that in scripture, it just a cultural thing, I suppose.
Yes, we use the angels a lot as movement pieces. So our dancers take over that and do a fantastic job.
Do you have a narrator?
We do, yes. And depending on the show, the narration changes a little bit. For the Christmas show, it is a Jewish family that is telling the story of what's going on, and the kids are asking questions and the parents are answering the questions. And then later in the show, they get involved.
That's interesting. Yeah, you sent us a lot of material. So Josh, why don't you go through some of it? There they are. What scene is this?
This is the scene where Mary and Joseph have to take baby Jesus to Egypt. And this little one over here, that's actually my son. He's 16 now, but he was about 4 there playing 2-year-old Jesus because he was big enough to run. But this particular picture always makes me giggle because we would have to tell him before you go on stage, hey, you can't laugh. And he would just run and he would just laugh and cackle. You could hear him all the way across the stage. He thought he was just having fun.
Well, he's just a kid, right?
Yeah, he's just a kid.
But maybe Jesus was laughing and having a good time when it was going on. You never know, right?
Yeah.
That brings up an interesting point. I was thinking there's certain parts of the story that are grim, like the Massacre of the Innocents and all that. I assume that's off stage, so to speak,
we
referred
handle
to
it gracefully.
Yeah, that's a hard part of that story.
Absolutely, yeah.
So good. So it isn't going to be traumatizing.
No, we handle it very gracefully, and that way, young and old can understand what is happening, but also we keep it as family friendly as we can.
Yeah. Hey, so how many people have played Jesus over the years? Half a dozen or so? I mean,
maybe a few more.
Is this something that they do like annually every year, or is this something that every year you recast the roles?
Depending on if they're available. This young man here, his name is Adam Richards, and he was playing Jesus for 8 or so years, maybe 10. I'm not sure. He started when he was pretty young, and in this particular picture might be in my top 3 favorite pictures ever. The little girl is my daughter. She is 13 now, but she was 18 months old there. She wasn't even big enough to go up and down the stairs by herself. So he would help her up and down the stairs, and then when she was walking away from him, she would blow him a kiss, and it was the cutest thing ever.
Yeah. Well, I remember when The Chosen was starting to be filmed around here. It was about 19, I think. And they started around Benbrook Lake, which is at the time I was teaching at Southwest Christian, which is on Benbrook Lake. And I had a couple of kids miss class. And I saw them the next day or so. And I said, where were you yesterday? He goes, we were making a movie. I'm like, oh, sure you were. I mean, okay, that's a new one for me. I'll admit, I've heard every other one, but I was making a movie. And sure enough, they were making The Chosen. And most of the extras in The Chosen are civilians, so to speak. They're just volunteers. We've had 3 or 4 from our Sunday school class over the years who have played extras. Is that what happens here?
Yes and no. A lot of times, we hold auditions for every season. And so everybody comes in and auditions, whether that is a song and dance and a monologue or a variation of the 3. And then if you come and we know that you have a family, a lot of times your family comes with you. And it's something that's been really important in my family. And there's several families like mine that we're on generation 3 or 4.
Mhm.
So this picture also is of my daughter and my friend Adam, and that's yeah, like I said, it's a multi-generational thing that's a big deal for us because I love getting to raise my kids like this.
Well, I mean, like this Adam fellow here, is he a professional actor, or I mean, this is what he does for a living, or is he, I don't know, a school teacher on his off time or whatever?
He doesn't do a whole lot of acting anymore. He is
Mhm.
actually a worship leader over at Stonewater in
Okay.
Granbury.
Okay.
So,
Oh, I just wonder. I mean, because
Mhm.
I would assume that your main leads get paid,
yes.
but is this like the way they make their living, or is this something they do uh, in addition to whatever the real job is, so to speak?
Also, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Because I'm sure that the money's okay, but it's not enough to probably live the lavish lifestyle and all this other stuff. But
Mhm.
but the extras and like your children, whatever, they're probably doing it because they want to be involved in something, right?
Yes,
Mhm.
most of us are paid.
Mhm.
The
Well.
children often, maybe the children don't get stipends,
Mhm.
but for most of us, it is definitely something that we are passionate about, and the stipend definitely helps to cover gas expenses and food and that sort of thing. And
But it ain't a way to get rich quick.
no,
No. Well, that's at least they don't make it a financial burden to perform and all this other stuff. Now, so
Mhm.
I don't know what the chosen extras get other than the opportunity to be a part of something that obviously has a tremendous impact on people. I mean, you're well familiar with the chosen, and people swear by it, and they think it's just wonderful and all this. And I talk to people that have been extras in it, and they think it's one of the most fun things and most important things they've ever done.
Mhm.
Oh, here's another one.
Uh-huh.
What's
This
this?
one is from way back in 1992, and the little girl
Mm.
there that is dead, that was my first major role in The Promise.
That's you
That's
lying
me.
there.
That's me, dead as can be right there. And that's my friend Randy Brooks, and he and I were close buddies.
Mhm.
And we actually got to go to Russia. We packed up The Promise and went to Russia, and I got to perform there as well for a few weeks in March of 1993, and then they went again. I didn't get to go again in 1994, but they went in 94 and filmed the show so that it could air on public Russian TV.
How did that go over this production over in Russia? Because we hear things, and often, obviously now things are a little different and
Mhm.
not quite as open and whatnot.
Well,
Did he get a good reception?
absolutely.
Mhm.
It was 1993, so the wall had not come down
Well,
very like
it's
3 or
about
4 years before.
2 years.
Hmm.
Yeah, and and during that '90s period, it wasn't quite as oppressive as Putin has made it. And I just wondered if the Russian people really responded to this.
They did. They loved it. In fact, we were invited by the Russian government, and we
Mhm.
performed on the Kremlin Palace's stage, which is really unique because one of the communist leaders said that on that very stage that he would kill the very last Christian, the very last Jew. And then
Mhm.
fast forward 35, 40 years, and here we are getting to tell the story of Jesus on their public stage. And
Mhm.
and then they invited us back to film it so they could put it on their public airways. And who knows how many people got to see and understand the story of Jesus that hadn't heard it before.
Well, I know that The Chosen has been translated into
Mhm.
a lot of different languages, and there's a lot of uh, movie depictions of Christ and whatnot. There was one that came out called a Book of Matthew, and the actor came to our church. I think this Book of Matthew is like late '90s,
Mhm.
and it was an attempt to try to show the story of Christ, and not quite the dull way you see it in movies like um, King of Kings movie, or The Greatest Story Ever Told, which puts me to sleep, and so, that kind of thing. And so they're trying to make it relevant for a new audience, a modern audience, without detracting from the story.
Mhm.
And so, I guess the show you do, though, has it modified over time as well?
Yes. In fact, our narrators used to be a modern day grandfather and his grandchildren.
Mhm.
And then we were wanting to connect more with the Jewish culture. So we saw an opportunity to move that to a Jewish family, depending
Mhm.
on what portion of the story we're in. And then even if you're listening closely to details, those families are actually related to each other. They make
Mhm.
references to each other that go back to like the spring show or the fall
Mhm.
show. So that's a really unique detail, and I think the story is pretty exciting. We keep it moving. You don't realize that you've been there, for an hour and 15 minutes for the first act, and then
Mhm.
the second act It moves pretty quick. Once we press go, there is no slowing down.
How long is it in total?
You're looking at a 2-hour show with a 15-minute intermission for the fall show. For the Christmas show, which we're getting ready to open, it is a teeny bit shorter, but not by much. You're going to get a full show.
Is this on streaming? Is it? I mean, I guess back in the day, you had it on VHS and then on DVD, and now it's streaming. I mean, do I need to explain, Josh, what VHS and DVD means?
Hey, hold
CD,
on.
Well, I'm just saying, these youngins, they don't know.
We are not actually streaming yet. I'm sure that's probably something we're looking at in our future, but no, to see The Promise, you actually have to show up.
Well, that's a good thing though, because it would probably detract from the crowds if I lived, an hour from Glen Rose and I said I can watch it on YouTube or whatever. That might take away from the experience. And and that's really kind of on a side note. That's kind of one of my concerns among other things about social media is that it keeps taking away those group experiences. We don't have them as much. I mean, I haven't gone to theater in years. If I'll wait till the movie gets on streaming because I don't want to deal with the crowd and whatever else. So I'm glad you still have this communal activity, if you will.
Yes.
And the thing about it, I think one of the more difficult things about doing a play like this is we know the story, or at least most people do. They come to see a story that they're highly familiar with. I would imagine there may be a few people curious about what the story is about, and hopefully you make some impact on them. But I would imagine the vast majority of your audience already knows how it's going to end, so to speak. So that's a challenge of keeping it fresh for them, right?
Yes, absolutely. So there's a lot of work that goes into that, into the details and making sure that the story stays fresh, because a lot of people are familiar enough with it to know, at least kind of where it's headed. And so I'm really proud of our production crew and designers, and especially our director. He does a great job of incorporating details that maybe nobody has ever seen. For example, there's one verse in the book of Luke that says, when Peter denies Christ for the third time, he actually looks him in the eye. And you'd have to know a whole lot about Jewish culture and architecture to understand how that's even possible. But our director picked up on that verse. And so in that particular scene, we have them look each other in the eye. And that's, most people are not going to see that. But for the one person that does, that makes a big difference if they're in a similar life situation where they feel kind of like Peter feels at that moment.
Well, it kind of reminds me of an interview I read with Ron Howard, the director, and he was making Apollo 13. And he said the difficulty of a historically based movie was everybody knows how it's going to end and how do you keep the drama and all this other stuff. And so, they use a lot of dramatic effect and whatever else. Y'all probably have to do the same thing to some degree, right?
Yes, we work really hard on our effects. In fact, moving indoors, we are learning all kinds of new things because previously we've used pyro, which is, it's live fire black powder explosions that are controllable. And being indoors now, we can't set anything on fire anymore.
Well, it's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So previously we've used a lot of live fire. Now we're just going to have to learn how to do it differently and communicate the same value. And we actually had our first production meeting last night, and I was very, very encouraged because we came up with a lot of ideas and solved a lot of problems, and we're moving.
Then that's what you do. You're behind the scenes now. You don't have to even take an extra role on there just to walk on or anything like that?
Not unless we have an emergency.
All right. Well, is that your choice? I mean, I figured you'd want to do this until they dragged you off the stage like every other performer.
It's actually my choice.
Okay.
I performed until I was 18 consistently. I did a lot of performing after that, but consistently till I was 18. And then I went to college and got my BFA in theater. And during that program, I realized that I'm actually really good at some other things. And especially in the theater world, those areas tend to be more male dominated. And so I'm unique in that area. So
I'm sure you're well accepted though. I mean,
yeah,
no
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm their assistant director, and I've been there for a couple of seasons now. Before that, I was on their props team and leading that. And then back through the years, I've also assistant directed for a different director and assistant stage managed. Like I've done almost all of it. They haven't let me touch the soundboard yet, but that's probably wise.
Well, okay. You see yourself one day as a lead director?
I hope so. However, I really love our current director, John. He does a great job.
I'm not asking you bump him off or whatever, but I'm just saying.
But he's a very energetic man. So I will gladly wait my turn.
Okay. Well, I know that these productions, it isn't like, those Mickey Rooney movies. This is well before your time, but you used to have movies during the war. Mickey Rooney and Judy Garland would say, we need to do hey, let's put on a show. And all of a sudden, out of nothing, they do these big barn dances or whatever. And it's highly choreographed. It is a lot of work behind.
A lot of work.
Yeah. And, and Josh was telling about his thespian days, so to speak. You miss those?
Yes.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Well, now and again.
It's addicting in a sense because in a very small sense, I did stuff like that when I was a teacher at BHS. I had walk-on role in one of the musicals and teacher talent show, and you get on that stage, and it's addicting. It really is, and it's hard to give up. But the hours are immense.
Yes.
So you told me you stayed up pretty late last night.
Yes, we had a meeting last night. They sent us home a little bit before 9, and then by the time I made it home, it was 9:30, 10, and that was a pretty easy going meeting. So
yeah, and and the kids, they got to just adapt, I guess.
Yes, we learn to sleep wherever we're told to sleep.
Are they with you?
Not during the week, but my daughter, she's 13. She is actually on the props crew, and she loves doing that. She loves the way that she can use her organizational skills. And like I said, she got her start in this show, but now she's also working on the crew side. And I love getting to watch her work because she takes on an adult role and goes for it.
Oh, we have a couple of clips. Josh, why don't you run one of them and see what we got going on here?
Yeah, somebody filming. That happens a lot.
I see the live camel off to the side.
Yes.
And I saw the guy with the copyrights, bro. You can't do that. You can't, film. You'll cut your hands off. You do that in the other theater. But what scene? Is that the announcement? The Annunciation?
Yes. Well, that's actually the nativity scene. So that's the part where all of the kings bring their gifts, and that's the end of it's actually a very long scene where baby Jesus is born. The angels announce, all of the shepherds come. Then here come the kings. It's
the kings came 2 years later. You know that.
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure. The historian in me says,
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. And we don't know if there were 3. They're just
they
the
started
kings.
came with 3 gifts. That's what we know. However, we do have to trim down 30-something years of timeline into 2.5 hours.
I'm just being stupid, but anyway, I know that the production part of it is for every hour you see on a stage is probably about 100 hours of production and costumes and organization, and then all the last minute little things that could happen. I remember twice when this BHS was doing musicals, and they did some really good musicals. And one time, right in the middle of the whole performance, boom, the power goes out in the whole building. What are you going to do? And so they were about like 10 minutes away from the end of the performance, so they just did it in the dark practically. And then another time, a few years prior to that, we had a pretty bad storm right in the middle of it, and they just said, we're going to have to postpone some of this till later. They basically said, keep your tickets and come for another show, because it was just the potential storm was pretty intense. You have another one for us, Josh?
I do.
Is that you singing?
No, that is my friend Carly, and she played Virgin Mary for us last Christmas, and we're really excited to have her back this year as well. And then there's 3 of our lead angels there, including our choreographer, who's in the corner closest to you. That's Abigail, and she also grew up in the Promise, and now she's our choreographer, and she does a fantastic job.
It's interesting because but as far as all the technical details, the lights and the costumes and the special effects and the sound, and it makes my head hurt, but people seem to love it, and when, again, I'll refer to my very, very limited experience. When I was teaching at DHS, I had a lot of the kids that were in the musicals or maybe the fall play or something like that. And so I had a little bit of insight from them, what they were going through. And particularly the week prior.
Tech week.
Yes. And then the week of performance, they were exhausted, and so I don't know how they did it,
One day at a time. Unfortunately, there are a few too many energy drinks, and
well, this is
and we
really,
just push through.
I don't know if this era I'm talking about really had a lot of that, but I also knew that the week of production of the actual performance, if I had the nerve to do anything outside the 55 minutes or whatever the classroom time frame was, I would get some response, like tears or anger or whatever, because they were so fatigued. But but it is a very adrenalizing once you get on that stage. They seem to, shake all that off, all that fatigue off, and they just would be dynamite. That I was there for, 26 years, and I think I missed one musical because my son had the nerve of being born that week, and how dare he? and it was they were very impressive, and Centennial does very impressive shows as well. So there's a lot of talent in this town. Everybody
we need to get all of them to audition because we've got a lot of cool things for them to do. Yeah,
and so that's another question for you is like somebody watching this or hearing this on the radio or whatever, they say, I want to be part of that. But, you're going to need not only just people on the stage, but behind the stage.
Yes.
And so even if they don't have what they think is enough talent to perform, you still get a role for them.
Probably, yes. That's one of the things that I love most about theater is it takes all kinds. You need somebody who knows marketing. You need somebody who is an engineer. You need somebody who can paint, who can hold a hot glue gun, who can act, sing, dance. Everything in between is necessary. In this new facility, we even need people to hold doors open for us.
Being an usher, huh?
Well, being an usher, but then also backstage because it's a different setup than we've had before. We're learning a lot about how do we make the traffic pattern move, and that's a lot of my job is to figure out those logistics. So right now, I'm trying to make a list of how many door holders do I need.
Well, since this is a performance that's annual, and you have a lot of returning veterans, don't they pretty much know their roles and whatnot for the most part? I mean, I know you have to do rehearsals to make it work and all this other stuff, but it isn't like you're teaching from scratch year after year, is it?
Not until this year.
Oh, okay.
We've moved facilities, so now everyone will be equally
well.
new.
I mean, I'm about knowing their lines, knowing what the role is, knowing I know they're going to have to like reblock. Isn't that the word?
Yes, that's the correct term. Good job.
Right, and they're going to have to learn all that. But it isn't like a brand new song they're going to have to learn.
Sometimes we do have new songs, but to your point, yes, we do have a lot of people who are returning, and it does make life a little bit easier when we put them in the same role. That way, they can pick that up a little quicker. We do have a little edits here and there. Things may get moved around a little bit. The fun is always kids outgrow things, so we almost always have a new set of kids that plug in. So that's always a ton of fun. And then there's always the joy of teenage voices that change. So you have to rearrange things around, what do they sound like, this year versus last year, and kind of got to shuffle that out.
Well, these kids they're students, right? I mean, so you're not making them skip school to go practice or anything like that.
No. Most of our rehearsals are on Friday nights or Saturdays. That's another thing I really love about the Promise. It is very family friendly as far as the schedule as well. And a surprising number of our student aged people they're students at TAFA, which is it's a private school for kids who are performers.
And in Fort Worth, right? Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. So we have a lot of TAFA students and their families.
I just figured you'd also probably have a few kids in the high school, Glen Rose High School, Stephenville High School, whatever, that are also in, the musical drama programs there. Maybe from Tarleton, I guess, maybe a handful of those and that kind of thing. I have a couple of former students that are in the acting business, and it's tough. When to do it for a living. So for a lot of people, this is like, it's not a hobby as much, but it's something that they can do without, living on bread and water. They can have a real job and whatever else and still get the thrill of performing and putting on a performance, particularly one with a message like this. I mean, I assume you don't have an altar call at the end, but I bet you may have impacted some people.
We do
Profoundly.
give people an opportunity to more specifically know what Jesus might be saying to them, and we do
Mhm.
provide a place that they can go and pray. Previously, it was a prayer tent because we were
Mm-hmm.
outside. I'm not sure exactly where it's going to be now, but we do provide volunteers come and if you want to come and pray with them about anything,
Really?
they're there available the entire show, not just at the beginning or end.
Wow, that's really impressive. All right, because it isn't just here's a nice show that we all know about. It's also for some people maybe the closest thing to church they've been to in a while, or they come with heavy burdens, and they
Mhm.
that's really impressive. It really is. Now, how does
Thank you.
one access tickets and performance times and things of that nature?
Absolutely. There's a lot of information on Facebook. For example, we have a ticket sale going on right now. So, and to access the actual ticket website is pgrtickets.com.
pgrtickets.com.
And you can get your tickets there. You choose the day, you choose the seat you want to sit in. And right now we are extra excited because we have never been able to have matinees before. And so suddenly we can have matinees, and we're really encouraging groups of, we used to have these huge buses show up with older people on them because that was an easy way for them to do transportation to and from Glenrose. With us having matinees now, your church groups, especially, your older Sunday school crowd, they are really going to love those matinees because that is something that they can do and not be out late, not have to drive in the dark.
Well, I told a couple of people in my Sunday school class that you were coming on the show, and they said, "Oh, I've seen that several times," and I would be surprised if I know one family in particular. I would not be surprised if they performed in it because they had a lot of performance genes, so to speak. They always seem to want to do that. Our friend Aaron Ash from Cleveland says hello. I bet he's seen it. Let's hope he has anyway. So it's you said 27 shows though. I assume tickets are priced accordingly. Where you sit, like any other event and whatever else. Is this considered nonprofit, or is it? I know you probably put after paying your expenses and bills, you probably put the money back into the show, I'd imagine. So,
yes, it is a nonprofit company. So we do reinvest in making sure that the next show happens and that that we take care of our people. But yes, it is nonprofit, and we're excited to see what's coming up in the future because of that status.
Have you been ever been interviewed by Rich Hooper on 88.3 The Journey?
Not yet.
I'm going to text him later and say you need to get on that show. There he is, 88.3 The Journey. He's going to be on the show. I believe the 21st. I just off the top of my head. So I'll put that in his inbox there, so to speak. But I'll send him a link. He also will promote my show with you on it. He didn't play it, but he'll say, "Go, hey, you want to hear about the show? Here's where you can find out information about it." But I bet he'd be more than glad to talk to you about it because there got to be a lot of people in his audience that'll be in your audience.
Yes.
And so whatnot. I do want to hit up a couple of nonprofits before, because we got a busy day Thursday. On Tuesday morning, we had the Breakfast of Champions with the Burleson Opportunity Fund. Now, maybe your son might be able to take advantage of this in a couple of years. Y'all live in Burleson, right?
Correct.
Okay, so you don't have to go to BISD schools. I had asked that question before, but if you live in Burleson ISD or you go to BISD schools, okay, because we got a lot of people in Burleson city limits that go to Joshua schools, but they are eligible, and you got a lot of people out in the country that aren't in the city, but they're BISD kids. They are eligible, so I hope I make that clear. But if you want to come, we sure would like to see you. We'd like to see you sign up so we know how much grub we'll need. But if you just showed up thinking somebody else had done it for you, which is very common, we'll accommodate you. Certainly, it's 7:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. And we do try to stress getting out by 9 a.m. because a lot of people work for a living, I understand. So we're going to have speakers. We're going to have testimonials. We'll have a really good breakfast and all this other stuff. And then they'll have the Ask, which is common. All right. And that's our big fundraiser. And then we're going to bring back our golf tournament, I believe, in late May, early June. But this is the big one over at First United Methodist Church. So check out the Opportunity Fund website, and there's all over the Facebook pages. And it's a big deal, Lucille. All right. Also, that night, we have the Next Step Gala over at the Doubletree, and they do a lot of wonderful work.
Mhm.
And they have speakers, and they're going to have testimonials, and they're going to have the ask and all this. And, it's going to be a nice meal. Last year, I dressed something like I am now, and I felt like, uh-oh, I'm out of place here, because a lot of the guys are in ties. I'm not going to wear a tie, but I'll wear a jacket. What the heck?
There you go.
Yeah. So, they got that going on. So that, and there's some other things going on. This time of year is pretty busy. There's also the day after on October 10th. Do we have the clay shoot one? Yeah, okay. There we go. He's reading my mind. Burleson Area Chamber of Commerce from 8 to 2 over at the Alpine Shooting Range out in the country a bit. They're going to have a clay shoot.
That sounds like fun.
I don't know how to cook clay, but whatever. Anyway, have a clay shoot. It's a fundraiser for the chamber. Kind of helps keep our dues low. I mean, the dues are cheap. I mean, they really are, and it's partly because of these fundraisers they put on, and they got all sorts of stuff going. You got to go, even if you're not a member, you got to go to one of those Network at Night things.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been to one?
I have,
Okay.
and I really enjoyed it. I met a lot of great people there. There's one tonight, correct?
Next week.
Next week, okay, good. But I haven't missed it yet.
No. It's 1611, which is that indoor golf facility. It's right across where you meet for BNI, so you know where it is, and it's a good place. Also, that's where several of us BNIers, if you want to call us that, BNIites. I don't know. It's where you have a lot of the one-to-ones, and so even if you're not a golfer, it's a nice place for that. So you gave us a lot to think about. I mean, a lot of information. You give us the background, the inside story about what's going on with the promise. So let's just kind of recap that, because we did have a glitch early in the show, and I don't want to have anybody miss out on it. So just take the next 2 or 3 minutes and recap what it is, where to find the tickets.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for the opportunity. And the promise has moved to Willow Park Baptist Church. And so that's new for us. But we are opening our Christmas show on December 5th. That's the first weekend in December. And we have shows on Friday and Saturday, 2 shows on Saturdays. And then that pattern continues up until the 2 weeks before Christmas. And then we will have nightly shows. So we pack in a lot of shows those last 2 weeks. We close out on December 23rd, and you can get your tickets at pgrtickets.com. There's also going to be a lot of opportunities like on Facebook to catch sales or to get more information. We spend a lot of time on Facebook. Do
the crowds get bigger as they get closer to Christmas?
Usually, yes.
Yeah, I would just kind of imagine you get more in the spirit of the thing, right?
Yes.
And I get zoned out for a minute. When is the first show again?
December 5th.
Okay, good. Well, we need to talk again about it. On a side note, how's Thrive Count doing?
It's doing really well. I'm focusing on networking right now and meeting a lot of people. And
so you're doing this promise on top of your job, or not a job, your business, Thrive Count, which is helping people with their books and keeping them straight, stuff like that.
Yes.
Do we still have that logo? He's looking for it over there. I don't know. We got a bullpen of those things, archived. And so when I throw a curve at him, he's, I got to go find it anyway. So that's another thing. You have to do this, be a mom, and do your own business. Thrive Count. How can they give you a hold for that?
You can find me at thrivecounts.com. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram at Thrive Counts. And you can also reach me. You can give me a call or text at 254-396-1980, or you can email me at info@thrivecounts. And I would love to chat with anybody who, maybe wants to make sure that their books are in order, getting ready for tax season, or just, if they're looking to take that next step of growth. The first place you start is your numbers.
There's your picture. Yeah. There's, and again, 254-396-1980 or Stormy at thrivecounts.com.
Yes.
Good. Well, appreciate you being here. Appreciate what you do. I appreciate the message you're giving out to the public. And I'm sure a lot of people have been blessed over the 3+ decades that you've been putting it on. And God willing, you have 3 more plus decades to put it on.
I hope so.
Thank you, Josh. He's reminding me, community radio. Yes, I can forget that sometimes. This will be on.
Gotcha. I'm going to start yelling at you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. 6:00 tonight. The show will be on the radio, and 1:00 tomorrow afternoon. It's on Live 365. It's on TuneIn, and there's always links on the Facebook page when I make the announcement, so you can get some good stuff. I think I have some 80s in store for y'all this afternoon or something like that.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, it's fun. It's playing with the radio station and it's so bad. All righty. Let's see. I want to see who I got next week. I really don't know. I got to pay better attention. On Columbus Day, we'll be off. That's the
Mhm.
Monday. On Tuesday, another one of our BNI friends, Michelle's going to be here talking about Medicare.
Excellent. She's so smart.
It will, and I'm a year and a half away. My wife is less than that. I won't tell you how soon she'll be eligible, but that's a big deal. Also, we have my friend Jennifer Woods going to be on a week from Thursday, and she does end of life planning.
Mhm.
And I've realized I knew already, but I've really seen how important that is. My father passed about a month ago,
Mhm.
and even though they had been long prepared, and we had all the paperwork, it's still my mom's pulling her hair out because it's all this detail and
Mhm.
we need this and you need to send us this notarized and blah 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 blah. So anyway, so she's going to help us with that. All right. So thank you, Josh.
Anytime.
And thank you, Stormy. And I'll see you tomorrow at the BNI meeting.
Yes.
All righty.
Yes.
All righty. Bye-bye, y'all.
Thanks.